The newly released 3-volume publication brings together dozens of George Martin's original handwritten scores, including iconic works such as Strawberry Fields Forever. According to his son Giles Martin, there is a unique energy that comes from seeing the music in its original written form. George Martin, who rose to legendary status as the Beatles' producer, famously partnered with 4 young musicians from Liverpool and helped reshape the sound of popular music. Now, his musical legacy has been preserved in an opulent new book titled George Martin. The scores, scheduled for release in April by Curvebender. This marks the first time his personal music manuscripts have been formally collected, offering unprecedented access to his private archives. The project commemorates Sir George Martin's centenary, as he was born on January 3, 1926. Across its 3 volumes, the book showcases a wide range of Martin's handwritten arrangements for timeless songs such as A Day in the Life, Here Comes the Sun, Yesterday, Live and Let Die, and many others. The collection also features a foreword written by Paul McCartney, one of Martin's closest collaborators and most devoted admirers. Giles Martin, himself a highly respected producer, explained to Rolling Stone that the book functions as a work of art as much as a historical document. He noted that the scores possess a remarkable elegance, with a sense of movement and vitality that becomes especially apparent when viewed on the page. The idea for the scores began during George Martin's final years, prior to his death in 2016. Giles described the project as deeply emotional, explaining that he conceived it alongside the team at Curvebender while his father was seriously ill, believing that working on such a book would give him purpose and motivation during that difficult time. Despite his failing health, George Martin remained closely involved. Giles recalled that his father embraced the concept enthusiastically, even though he passed away at the age of 90 before the book was completed. The project involved carefully selecting scores from Martin's archives and reproducing them with exacting precision, similar to how the Yesterday manuscript had been presented years earlier. Beyond simply displaying the sheet music, the book provides extensive commentary, exploring the background of each piece, the thinking behind the arrangements, and the technical process used to create them. The manuscripts included are the very documents Martin kept following recording sessions. As working studio materials, they contain handwritten revisions and annotations, offering rare insight into his creative method. Some even reveal alternative arrangement ideas that were ultimately abandoned. Accompanying the book is an album featuring newly recorded orchestral performances of the scores, allowing listeners to experience the music in isolation. These recordings were made in Studio 2 at Abbey Road, the same space where Martin and the Beatles crafted so many of their most groundbreaking recordings. Several editions of the scores are available. The standard edition includes a USB drive loaded with audio files, while the deluxe edition is presented in a clamshell case and contains a CD, a conductor's baton, a separate reproduction of one of Martin's scores, and a Blu-ray featuring documentary footage from the Abbey Road recording sessions. For dedicated collectors, a limited signature edition is also offered, bearing George Martin's own inscription. He signed these copies at the outset of the project, though he did not live to see the finished book. All editions are currently available for pre-order through Curvebender. Known to the Beatles as Mr. Martin, Sir George was the producer who signed John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. Crucially, he made the bold and unconventional decision to allow them to write their own material at a time when that practice was rare in pop music. Trained in classical music, Martin openly acknowledged that he did not consider himself a rock and roll figure, often noting his preference for traditional attire and his deliberate choice not to adopt the band's image during their early years. Nevertheless, his musical expertise was instrumental in enabling the Beatles to grow, experiment, and realize their most ambitious ideas in the studio. One frequently cited example is his piano solo on In My Life, which he later sped up to achieve a harpsichord-like sound. From Yesterday and Eleanor Rigby to I Am the Walrus, his orchestrations became an essential component of the band's sound. Reflecting on the handwritten manuscripts, Giles Martin observed that seeing his father's notation on the page is especially striking, noting how economical his writing was despite his imposing physical presence. Yet those sparse markings helped shape some of the most influential music ever recorded. Giles added that reading the scores creates a powerful reversal of perspective. Music that once existed only in sound is now encountered visually, allowing audiences to witness the very notes that made history.